Hey gang, welcome to Bugbears and Brews. My name's Brian, and today we're recapping the 25th encounter of the Tomb of Annihilation campaign. And I am going to drink a delicious Blue Moon honey wheat. Um, I found I think this is the first year I've ever seen them. And honey wheat was the first homebrew that I ever brewed. And while this one is not the exact same of it as the homebrew recipe, it is pretty damn good. So I approve of Blue Moon Summer Honey Wheat. So this year, we started off at what we believed to be the proper entrance into the tomb. Instead of having the 8 holes for the cubes, there was actually 9, which works because you had 9 cubes, and you guys were able to kind of piece together a proper order of putting those cubes into the holes based on the wall of, or not the wall, the hallway that kind of showed the opposing folks plus the notes that we had. So Obrecht was, you guys decided Obrecht had kind of the most health, the hardiest person. He was going to be the one that was going to put this in case there's any sorts of other traps that you guys would experience. So that's what you did. First, you took a short rest, I should say that. But anyway, Obrecht puts all these things in, and then that works. The door behind him starts sliding closed. There was actually another door there, starts sliding closed, and then the room goes black, and then the skull on the door lights up, and there was a lever there. I forgot to mention there was a lever on the new door. I'm going to take a drink here. And so right above this lever is the skull's head. The skull's mouth pops open, and there's an hourglass in there. And it's moving quick, so Obrecht has to decide what to do. So he decides he's going to go rush over and put the pendant that kind of led you guys to this entrance, hang it in the skull's mouth. That didn't work, and so he said, screw it. He pulled the lever, and the floor dropped from him. He fell down about 20 feet, took a couple spikes, wound up getting poisoned. Not a good time. He wasn't damaged too much, but the poison would come into a bit of annoyance. It didn't really hinder him that much through the rest of the game, but it was definitely a bit of annoyance. So he climbed back up because the floor started sliding back across. So I was like, shit, let me get up there. Got up there without issue. Kind of explained to everybody what's going on there. And you guys kind of talked about a couple of different things that you could do. And so, Obrecht did spike the floor, or I think you guys spiked the floor, that way it wouldn't fall back. You guys, could tell how to spike it because he saw how it moved. He kind of had a good idea before he got to the point that the floor was going to do something anyway. And I feel like I have something in my... Damn, just got done with swim class with Brianna, so maybe some pool floaties or something like that. Yeah, so he spiked the floor, and then he decided, you know what, let's go ahead, redo everything, pop the things in, and he was going to go ahead and pull out the hourglass. So he runs over, starts pulling on the hourglass. First little bit doesn't give, then he pulls it, and things work. The door behind him, or the door slides up, exposing the tomb proper, and then the door, a new door, kind of starts to close down, and so the party has to decide, are they in or are they out? And everybody, amazingly enough, went in. Who would have guessed? That brought you guys into a very dark hallway. Luckily, Leorin cast shield, or not shield. He cast shield. He cast light on his shield and lit up the hallway, which makes me wonder now that I think about it, because light's a cantrip and paladins don't get cantrips, right? So how the hell did that actually happen? Damn it, foiled. Right? Yeah, pretty sure. I have to look into that. So yeah, anyway, there's light going on. Things are going great. Take a couple steps into the tomb proper, and you're in this hallway, and you're getting shot with darts as you guys are going down this hallway. People are kind of dodging in and out. Leorin amazingly did this nice little zigzag pattern randomly on the map and wound up making it through everything okay. A couple people dodged the darts. I think Barlow was the only one that actually got hit by the darts. Did a little bit of damage to him, I think like 15 points or so, but when you're a wizard, 15 points is quite a bit when you only have 15. At the end of this hallway is a T intersection. To the right, or to the left, there was a grate in the floor where you guys could hear water kind of trickling past, or kind of flowing past, I should say, flowing past, not trickling. And then at the end of that, there's this big old glass window that looked into one room. In front of you guys, in the T intersection, there was this devil-shaped, very large sculpture, devil face-shaped thing. And it's got its mouth gaping, and even though Leorn's sitting there trying to shine light, the mouth itself is just pitch black. He can't get light into it. And to the right, there's this big opening staircase. So you guys are kind of trying to figure out what to do, trying to decide if you can get Barlow convinced into going to the mouth. Could you maybe force Barlow into the mouth? Realistically, you guys yourselves as medium creatures, you could probably get in there. You'd have to squeeze a little bit, but Barlow seemed like the right person to stick in there. Barlow didn't go in there, believe it or not. He didn't want to go into this mysterious dark hole. And so after a little bit of trying to figure out what the next steps were, Obrecht goes and just kind of starts wandering off on his own. He heads towards the spiraling staircase. He sees that there's stairs going down, none going up, and he sees a couple things, a couple chutes across the staircase. So it's kind of like an upper balcony with the staircase going down. So he kind of starts scouting around. He's got this little ominous feeling going on that you're not alone. As this is going on, Leorn goes over to the window with the glass, and he sees into this room. So I think Sai originally went to check it out. Looking down in the water, or in the grate, you can see that there's a slow river, mucky water supply, something like that, flowing underneath. Not fast, but it's definitely flowing. Into the room beyond the glass, you could see that there was a sarcophagus. There was two statues holding some sort of very large bronze object. There was quite a number of thrones with dead humanoids on them, all kind of in like princely regalia. And then there was a really dried out, emaciated, dead-looking dragonborn standing up in the middle of the room. So Leorn thought, instead of going around trying to find another way, let's go ahead and crack that bad boy open. First swing, no good. His weapon reverberated off it. Second swing, connect, hit, critical hit. He pumped in a what's it called? A smite into it and just shattered the glass altogether. With that, Sai was like, all right, let's step in, take a look around, drink some beer. God, that is a good one. Sorry, I love wheat beers to begin with, and I love honey, and honey wheat is just part of it. I think, I know it's a little bit, my brain tricking myself thinking it's somewhere along the lines of the honey wheat that I really like that I brewed. I think we did that one like 5 or 6 times altogether. And when we start brewing again, that will be the first one that we brew. I already told my dad that. So, and that's the last of that. So Sai jumps in. He starts checking out the area. As he gets into the area kind of surrounding the sarcophagus, he starts hearing all these groans and creaks and growls and that kind of stuff there. And these undead creatures start popping up from the throne. So the princely-looking guys with the what's it called, paper mache masks start kind of standing up, and then the dragonborn that was hanging out in the middle of the room just starts kind of coughing and wheezing and that kind of stuff there. So Sai starts booking ass back to the party. This is where I'm going to hold off on that section for a moment. We're going to go back to Obrecht's side of the story, then I'll continue on with that there. Because this kind of all was taking place simultaneously. Obrecht was exploring, and then these guys were fighting. So Obrecht, he found another, doing some exploration, he found a hallway that ended in another one of those demon face-shaped holes in the wall, statue, bas-relief, whatever you want to call it. It'd probably be bas-relief with a hole into it. This one had flames coming out of its eyes just subtly, and you could see through the mouth. And into the looking through the mouth, he could see a room that had a sarcophagus This one here had a snake, I think, on the sarcophagus, like a snake statue on the sarcophagus, snake carving. And then there was a skull hanging in this middle of this like crystal cube. And as he's looking, checking out this room, there's a skeleton that walks into the room, and the skeleton has this really weird kind of stone neck piece on it, and it's got this really weird stone headdress like implanted into its skull. He left that room to be for the moment because he's still not feeling 100%. He's poisoned. Well, let's not mess with that for the moment. He goes traveling down another hallway, and he sees this giant steel apparatus sticking out in the middle of the hallway. He takes another step, and it starts kind of slowly spinning. It's a fan, and it's pulling him. It's picking up speed, and it's slowly starting to pull him towards the fan. He's thinking, oh, crap, what do I do? He thinks logically, grabs a pickaxe, goes ahead, and he's poisoned at this point, and I think he either used his own inspiration or somebody gave him inspiration. I forgot what one it happened. He went ahead, grabbed his pickaxe, used his inspiration to get rid of the disadvantage and rolled a critical hit. Mechanically, this thing should have technically sheared right through this, but on a critical hit, I allowed the things to roll with it. The fan stops, starts grinding, making all sorts of nasty noises. Obrecht's rolling some percentile rolls. Like the first one was a 99. The second one was like in the upper 80s, and then I let him roll one with advantage because the one on the 99 of a percentile roll. And so because of these the percentile rolls, this fan is just grinding and grinding and grinding, and eventually it just breaks. So he's able to progress past the fan because there was a hallway further down that led to a room beyond the fan. So he's hanging out, checking out that room. And down there's a little pit, and inside the pit there's another sarcophagus. And looking around the room, so it's like floor, pit, sarcophagus, and then over here there are several chests. There was one that was made of obsidian, one that was made all sorts of rustiness, I think, and then one that was like nice gleaming silver and like frosty, that kind of stuff there. And after seeing that and not really having a good idea what to do, he said, let's double back and try to meet with the party, because he's hearing all sorts of loud spells fly off that way. And so he moseyed on back to the party. As that's going on, he's moseying back that way. The party's fighting these undead things. 6 of them just start rushing up. 3 of them immediately go for Leorn, who charged into the room. He started to charge towards the undead Dragonborn that's in the center of the room. And as he gets close, he's about to swing. He's noticed that the Dragonborn is actually kind of breathing a bit, and notices like the little bit of spark of life in the Dragonborn's eyes. Comes to realize the Dragonborn's not dead. And he's like, asks the Dragonborn what's going on. Cast a quick lesser restoration on it, which sadly didn't do a whole lot to, or no lesser restoration. Was there? Yeah, there was a lesser restoration. Yeah, sorry, lesser restoration kind of helped the Dragonborn get perked up a little bit. His scales started gleaming a little bit better. He coughed up a bit more dust. Looked a little bit more lively, that kind of stuff there. And so with the this actually was Tim's new player, other Tim, non-evil Tim, his new character, Ildrex, a Dragonborn Paladin. So the fight is joined. You guys are taking these down pretty good. Leorn got touched by some sort of creepy death touch hand thingy that took away some of his maximum hit points. Carr did some really good locking of a trio of them to start with, and then it went down to 2 and then down to 1 with this water sphere spell. I forget what it is because I don't recall ever encountering it before, but it's like a 10-foot globule it's like a 10-foot hold person, essentially, is what it is. So that's going on. People are casting spells, which I love. The paladins are working together using some spites because the Ildrex is a paladin as well. Sai's running around kicking the crap out of everybody that he can. There was a what spell? Fireball. Yes, there we go. Why couldn't I think of fireball? Yeah, Barlow's tossing a fireball out there, sculpted it around everybody, did a lot of damage, took out some of the weaker or the undead that have already been beat up on, and then took out some of the or not took out, really reduced some of the ones that were living, not the ones that were in the cube. I say living, they're undead, but you get what I mean. Eventually, though, you guys take these guys down with relative minimal injuries. Restoration on Leorn didn't return his hit points, but for the most part, everybody was relatively unscathed, excluding Leorn. Looking around there, talked to Ildrex, found out that he's, asking him, because his armor looks a little dated, his weapon looks a little dated, asking him, what's going on, how long has he been there? Ildrex is like, we've only been here for a couple minutes. He doesn't see any of his party, though. And he's kind of looking around the room. The room looks a little bit different than what he saw previously in the stone disc, or the bronze disc that the two statues were holding. Instead of having all sorts of eyes on it, it had some sort of hypnotic pattern on it when he saw it last. And so I should mention, all these eyes on this disc were kind of following you guys around whenever you were in the room. And so he's, this isn't right. This isn't how it was just a moment ago. You guys kind of talk about date ranges, and it finds out that he's been sitting there, standing there for like 100 years. And somebody even came and changed the traps in the room and just left him here like he's some sort of nice dungeon fixture. Like, yeah, that's a good Dragonborn. From there, you guys kind of played around with the super eyeball bronze shield type disc, whatever you want to call it. Threw a blanket over it eventually, and then tossed on the paper mache masks. When you had the paper mache masks on, you guys could like walk around and the thing wouldn't notice you. So you're like, can you see me? And it'd like notice you. So toss the blanket over, put on paper mache masks, and then you guys opened up the coffin or sarcophagus. Inside there was like a small bear, like bear corpse, or not corpse, skeleton. And on top of it was a ring. And Leorn reaches down, grabs the ring. You guys see all sorts of the dust and bone debris from within the sarcophagus start swirling around. It just kind of like lights up into a very small kind of bear. It does this ground. That's it. That's all you guys heard. And that's where we ended. So, this session overall, you guys covered a lot more ground than I expected. We got through a little bit over half of the first floor, I think. Yeah. I know now that means if you guys don't find other things, whatever. You guys already kind of pieced together that there's probably an iron sarcophagi laying around, given that the other sarcophaguses that Ulbricht found, he kind of let you guys know what's going on there with like the etchings on them and whatnot, and that this one here was kind of a bear, and so you guys are probably tying them into the Tomb of the Nine Gods. And then the other thing is, Ulbricht did let you guys know that he saw something really weird, looked like an overgrown dwarf thingy with some sort of weird mask, and it was carrying all sorts of like hammers and spikes and that kind of crap there. So you have some sort of thing roaming around. That was on a level below him when he was coming back from the super chopper fan thing. Yeah, all in all, really good. I know this was really long, but you guys split in the party. There was a lot of shit to cover. So I will talk to you guys next week. See ya. Bye.